Francisco, when did you first hear about what happened last year?
I date his sister, Jasmine Melendez, so I heard about it the day after it happened.
And I suppose you knew the fellow.
Yeah, I knew him pretty well. I knew him for a few years. So. Can
you tell me something about Jayson?
Well, he was a good kid. He was always joking around, you know. He was I don't know. He was a real likable person. He was like, he had like a gravitational. Everybody wanted to be around him. He was very charismatic, you know. Very respectful. Adults liked him. His classmates liked him. All that stuff. He liked music a lot. He was into rap, and he made a few songs, and yeah.
So it must have been a huge shock when you heard about this thing.
Yeah, it really was. That was the last thing I expected to hear, you know, that like my mother told me that morning that somebody got shot that was in a car, and I didn't think it was him, and then an hour later I got a call from Jasmine, and it hit me hard.
So you were wearing a shirt, and we pan back a little bit. You want a murder charge. Why is that?
I believe that whether, you know, the car was stolen or not, I do not believe that Jayson, knowing the person that he was, would use the car as a weapon to hurt anyone. And I do not think that deadly force was needed in that incident. And Jayson was a minor. There was no weapons in the car, nothing to entice the cop to be scared. You know, we haven't seen the video yet, but from what I know about how Jayson is, I do not believe that he would try to murder anybody, and that's why I want charges brought on Bule for murder.
So why did you come up to Waterbury today?
Well, we're here today, you know, for first of all to give support to our best friend, Jasmine, which is Jayson's sister, and we just want answers, you know? Like, I feel like it's way overdue that, you know, if you killed Jayson, just own up to it. And it's that simple. You kill him, you pay for the crime. Do the crime, do the time.
And you think it was a crime on the police officer's part?
Of course. You killed him and you let him bleed out for 6 hours without medical attention. And yeah, they lied to us. Initially said that he was died on impact, which is not the case at all.
They said that he was shot in the head and died immediately, but then there was a video released showing that he didn't.
And he got shot 5 times in his chest. So.
And I feel like if they were willing to hide something like that, then like what else could they be hiding?
Yeah,
exactly. They need to keep that a secret.
And how do you feel about this situation? I can see from your shirt you think there was a murder committed.
Yeah, there was a murder committed of a child who was shot, and then the investigation starts. And it happens on our streets every day. The hands of police to black and brown youth, and there's no accountability. They're never held accountable for the murders that they commit. I know people that have, people who have documented over 3,000 state-sanctioned murders, because that's what they are, state-sanctioned murders across this country since 2013. So it's tragic and it's horrible for this young boy's family, and for all of us. But it points to a larger issue of systemic racism and police brutality. As a white person of privilege, our humanity is at risk if we don't stand up and fight against the systemic racism. These are our children. These are my friends' children. These are our children being murdered in the streets. And I think every white person needs to ask themselves every day, how are you using that privilege to stop systemic racism and dismantle white supremacy? And what I have decided, one of the things I do a lot of things, but one of the things I do is whenever I see a cop pull over anybody black, I stop and I witness. And if they question me, I tell them that I'm making sure that that young man, woman, whoever it is, gets home safely, because their mother is a friend of mine. I don't know her, I don't say I don't know her name, and I've done it 7 times.
I'll be speaking to Jeannia Fu and Camelle Scott-Mujahid. So things are a little tense out here.
Yeah, I would say so.
Could we start from the beginning for those who know nothing about the situation? What was the case? What happened?
Well, on May 9th in Bridgeport, Jayson Negron, who was 15 years old, was the police attempted to stop him, and there was basically, because of what happened, the police shot him in the chest. They lied numerous times about the circumstances that happened before that, the circumstances that happened after that, but the facts that we know for sure is that the police officer James Boulay shot Jayson Negron in the chest. They then pulled him out of the car.
So he was in a vehicle.
He was in a vehicle. They pulled him out of the car, they handcuffed him, and they left him on the street, face down, so he was on top of where he had been shot. And as far as we know, aid was not rendered immediately. I think what we've heard is that it was 20 minutes before an ambulance was called, and so Jayson bled out and died on the street. And following that, his body was left in the street for 6 hours as community members gathered in Bridgeport to mourn his loss and express outrage about this incident of police violence and also a multitude of incidents of police violence that have happened in Bridgeport and around the state.
So what have the police said? This is a long time ago, many months. How do they account for what happened?
We actually don't want to speak about their accounts because the press has given way too much attention to the lies that they have told about Jayson and about what happened. So what Camelle said is what happened. And
those are the facts that we know.
Those are the facts. And why today, no matter what the state's attorney decides, we do not accept the decision because this entire investigation has been a complete sham. They've taken the police into account. This is an office that's supposed to be investigating the whole case and this crime. But how can the police investigate themselves? This office has been in collusion with the Bridgeport Police Department, protecting them by withholding key evidence from the family and from the public. It's been 9 months. They haven't released the video or even the autopsy report, and you have to wonder why.
What kind of video?
The family hasn't received a death certificate, as far as I know.
So the video is from Walgreens captured the incident. The Walgreens has a video that was looking onto the street. And so why haven't they released that? If they have confidence in their investigation, why not let that video speak for itself? Why not give the family some sense of understanding of what happened that day?
And you said there's no autopsy report either?
They did it, but they have not given it to the family, which is insane.
And so this investigation is going to supposedly tell us what? A decision on whether this was done properly by police? It's to decide whether to charge Officer Boulay or not, but with murder. But the precedent is that these officers are never charged. They never even make it to being charged. So we are here today expecting that it will be the same. And in Connecticut, we need to start doing something different. We need to change this together. So whatever happens here today, it's not over. We're going to keep pushing on this. We're going to go up to the Criminal Justice Commission, which is a group of 6 people who have discretion over the Chief State's Attorney, because we believe Kevin Kane has also been colluding with the Bridgeport Police Department and is not fit to continue overseeing this investigation. So we're demanding that the investigation be reopened by the Criminal Justice Commission. And there's some signs about the mayor. What is his involvement or lack of?
The mayor just last week said in a meeting that Jayson deserved what happened to him. He said that it was because of Jayson's choices that he died. Ganem is a sickening person. He has stood by the police department in Bridgeport, and at every step, he has emboldened their brutality. He broke the sanctuary city contract in Bridgeport so that the Bridgeport Police Department can get another $2 million to continue their brutality. So we are also today calling for Ganem's job.
Justin, I see you're wearing a sticker and it says solitary confinement is torture.
Yes.
And you're involved in that issue. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, so earlier last year, around early January, Senator Winfield and Representative Porter had a bill to exclude our youth from solitary confinement because We know that solitary confinement has been seen as torture by the UN. And past 14 days, they consider it cruel and unusual punishment. Yet still here in America, in many parts of the country, we've allowed for young people and juveniles to be in solitary confinement. So I'm a student at Southern, and during that time I was following it, and I liked the sticker, so I put it on my jacket.
So there was some legislation on it last year?
Yeah, so we passed legislation to protect youth from being in solitary confinement. Oftentimes, solitary confinement will be used as a way to separate gangs from each other. When you're talking about kids and separating them in that type of way, and being away from other people and communicating for hours on end, days on end, it can have serious cognitive effects to people. So I'm happy that we raised the bar on that issue and are protecting children.
And the details are that it's just completely not going to be used anymore?
Yeah, it's supposed to. So juveniles, it should not be used on. Juveniles who are tried as adults, I think there might be leeway. I can't remember exactly. But for juveniles, they cannot be in solitary confinement unless it's people who are disabled and cognitive disabilities, and that's a separate type of isolation. It's not the same as solitary confinement.
Great, thank you very much.
Oh, cool.